video lecture we will discuss about the part 2 of the Krebs cycle, that is about the amphibolic nature of the TCA cycle, that is tricarboxylic acid cycle, or you can say the Krebs cycles. So the main purpose of this video lecture, that is why TCA cycle it is called as amphibolic pathway. But this question we will be later on. Here we will mainly focus on that is what is amphibolism. Now you can see here this is actually amphibolicism. Now if we look the term of the amphibolism, so it is actually derived from a Greek word that is amphi. So this amphi means that both. So what does the both means? You can say any metabolic pathway, or you can say any metabolic process in our body that have both, as well as a breakdown of the molecule occur as well as the synthesis of the molecule occur. So such type of the metabolic pathway, or you can say the process, this process or metabolic pathway, it is called as amphibolic pathway. Now look at see here the definition. It refers to the dual metabolic role of certain pathway or process in the body. So these process are metabolic pathway where both synthesis of the molecule occur as well as the breakdown of the molecule occur. So such type of the metabolic pathway it is called as amphibolic pathway. Now these where the process are the metabolic pathway where the breakdown of molecule occurs. So this is called as catabolism. Where the synthesis of the molecule occur, this is called as anabolism. So you can see here in the amphibolic pathway, catabolism as well as anabolism both occur in amphibolic pathway. So the best example of the amphibolic pathway, that is TCA cycle, that is tricarboxylic acid cycle, and then another one that is hexose monophosphate shunt pathway, that is HMP pathway. These are the best well-known example of amphibolic pathway. HMP, hexose monophosphate shunt pathway, these are actually the best well-known example of amphibolic pathway. Now in case of the catabolism, here the breakdown of molecule occurs. So what is the purpose of this breakdown? Actually the main purpose of the breakdown of the molecule, that is occur for the liberation of the energy, to liberate energy. So this is actually the catabolism. While the anabolism, it means that the synthesis of molecules. So here the molecules, the synthesis of molecule occurs. So the main purpose of this synthesis of the molecule, that is to this synthesis occur for the welding cellular components. So this is actually the anabolism. Now if we talk about the term amphibolism, it was the first for the first time proposed by B. Davis in 1961. It is used to describe the metabolic pathway that have dual role, mean catabolism as well as in this pathway anabolism. Both these type of the process occur in a metabolic pathway. Such type of the pathway that is called as amphibolic pathway. Now after understanding the amphibolic terms, we will know here why the TCA cycle it is called as amphibolic pathway. So here are the reasons that why the TCA cycle or Krebs cycle it is called as amphibolic pathway. So TCA cycle it is called as amphibolic pathway because TCA cycle has dual role. So what are these dual rules they play by the TCA cycles? So actually the first rule, that is it have a catabolic roles. The second rule, that is it also have anabolic roles. So what does it mean, the catabolic role and anabolic role? So it means catabolism, here the breakdown of the molecule occurs. So the main purpose of the breakdown of the molecule, that is to liberate energies. Now look at see here we have the initial the starting material for the TCA cycle or the Krebs cycle, that is a 2-carbon compound, that is acetyl coenzyme A. So this is actually the initial substance for the TCA cycles. Now this acetyl coenzyme A, it is made from the metabolism of protein as well as from the metabolism of carbohydrate and lipid. So these three type of the molecule, after their metabolism they are converted or they will form the acetyl coenzyme A. So it is actually the initial substance for the TCA cycles. So when this acetyl coenzyme A, it will enter the TCA cycle. After the complete oxidation of this acetyl coenzyme A, it will convert it into the carbon dioxide water molecule. Along with these, energy is produced in the form of ATPs. So you can see here it is actually the catabolic role of the TCA cycles. So here this molecule, it is breakdown, and at the result we will get the energy in the form of ATP. So this is actually the catabolic role of the TCA cycles. Now the second role that is played by the TCA cycle, that is anabolic roles. So here the synthesis of molecule occurs. So intermediate of the TCA cycle are utilized for the synthesis of various compounds. So here some of the intermediate of the TCA cycle that are utilized, or you can say used for the synthesis of various compound as heme, as well as non-essential amino acid glucose that are from the intermediate of the TCA cycles. Now we will take some example of this synthetic rule of the TCA cycles. So these are actually the example of various compound that is mainly formed from the intermediate of the TCA cycle. So the first example, that is heme synthesis. Heme is actually the main constituent of the hemoglobins. So this is actually made from the intermediate of the TCA cycles. So the best known TCA intermediate that is mainly responsible for the synthesis of the heme, that is succinyl coenzyme A. So this succinyl coenzyme A, it is one of the intermediate of the TCA cycles. So this intermediate of the TCA cycle, it is mainly responsible for the synthesis of the heme. Now look at see here the second example, that is the synthesis of cholesterol and steroids. So this steroid and cholesterol that is mainly formed from the intermediate of the TCA cycles. So what are these intermediate that mainly responsible for the synthesis of the cholesterol and steroids? So you can see here the acetyl coenzyme A, it is used for the synthesis of cholesterols. So the main component are the main precursor for the cholesterol synthesis, that is acetyl coenzyme A. So this acetyl coenzyme A, it is mainly responsible for the synthesis of the cholesterol. When the cholesterol it is made, so this cholesterol it is again used for the synthesis of the steroids. So by this intermediate, the cholesterol and steroid that are mainly formed from the TCA cycle. Now look at see here the third best known example of the synthetic role of the Krebs cycle, that is formation of glucose. So this is mainly called as gluconeogenesis, mean the formation of the glucose from non-carbohydrates. So this is called as gluconeogenesis. So the carbon skeleton of certain amino acid that can enter the TCA cycle after the deamination or transamination. When the when the transamination and deamination of the amino acid occurs, so the carbon skeleton it will enter into the TCA cycle and will help in the formation of the glucose. So such type of the glucose synthesis that is mainly formed from the amino acid, this is called as gluconeogenesis. Now the fourth best known example of the synthetic reaction of the Krebs cycle, that is fatty acid synthesis. Now as we know that this fatty acid synthesis it will mainly occur from the acetyl coenzyme A. Now this acetyl coenzyme A, it is actually formed in the mitochondrial matrix from the pyruvic acid. When the pyruvic acid it will act by the enzyme, that is pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme. When this pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme it will act on the pyruvic acid, it will form the acetyl coenzyme A. So this acetyl coenzyme A, it is actually present in the mitochondrial matrix, while the synthesis of the fatty acid it will occur in the cytosol of the cells. Now how this acetyl coenzyme A it is come into the cytosol, while the membrane of the mitochondria it is completely impermeable to the acetyl coenzyme A. Now how this acetyl coenzyme A it is used for the synthesis of the fatty acid. Now here this acetyl coenzyme A it will combine with the oxaloacetic acid, a 4-carbon compound, and it will form a product that is called as citrate. So this citrate, it is actually the first product of the TCA cycle or the Krebs cycle. On this basis, the TCA cycle, it is also called as citric acid cycle. Now the membrane of the mitochondria, it is completely permeable to the citrates. So this citrate, it will come out from the mitochondrial matrix and to the cytosol. When this citrate, it will come into the cytosol, it will act by enzyme, that is citrate lyase enzyme. So when citrate lyase enzyme, it will act on this citrate, it will convert this citrate into its constituent, that is oxaloacetic acid and acetyl coenzyme A. So here one coenzyme A, it will add and utilization of one ATP, it will occur here. So this acetyl coenzyme A, it will act as a precursor for the synthesis of the fatty acid. So long chain of fatty acid that will mainly form from the acetyl coenzyme A. The best known, that is palmitic acid, that is mainly formed from the acetyl coenzyme A. Now the fifth example, that is synthesis of non-essential amino acids. So when transaminase reaction produce keto acid, so these are the keto acid that are actually the oxaloacetic acid and alpha ketoglutarate, these are actually the keto acid. So when this keto acid, it will mainly form from the aspartate and glutamate, these are actually the amino acids. When the transaminase enzyme, it will act on these in amino acid, it will form these oxaloacetic acid and alpha ketoglutarate. Now this reaction, it is actually, these are reversible, it will convert it back into each others. So this oxaloacetic acid and alpha ketoglutarate, it will convert it back. HTCA act as a source of carbon skeleton. So this alpha ketoglutarate and oxaloacetic acid, it will convert it and it will use after the transamination reaction, it will convert it and it will form some non-essential amino acids. So by this way, non-essential amino acid that will mainly form from the intermediate of the TCA cycle, that is oxaloacetic acid and alpha ketoglutarate, by transamination and deamination reactions. So this is actually why TCA cycle, it is called as amphibolic pathways. So these are actually the reason why TCA cycle, it is called as amphibolic pathway. Thank you so much.